that big old cut on my forehead. They had me in the back right after, and they were stitching me up. And then I remember Dana coming in and be like, hell yeah, that was a hell of a fight, kid. And then the doc that was doing it was like, oh, I've never seen him do that before, so that's probably a good sign.
My name is Chase Hooper. I'm 18 years old. I think, I'm one of the first of the kind of new generation of fighters.
Quiet on set. Combined age of 38. That is actually still younger than my last opponent by like, what, 5 years? Yeah, I think he was 43 when he fought, so. Oh, look at that skinny little guy. I was just mentioning this before we started. It's when I start out with these kicks that it's usually a bad move. There we go, a little grappling. I don't remember too much of this first round. I think I'm about to get rocked here. Oh. In on the single though, who would have thought? I didn't even think my wrestling was that decent at the time. I remember actually, I think it was my first time meeting Jens was before Jens Pulver. He's actually pretty good childhood friends with my father-in-law. So I met him actually right before my contender fight, and he was like, oh, you're fighting a Hawaiian. He was like, just know, like, it's a hard first round, and then, if you can get past that, then you're good to go. And that was definitely the case here in my contender fight.
Now let's see, does he want to engage him in the grappling? This is where he is well-versed and a brown belt in jiu-jitsu of his own, but it's just one of those things when you have such an advantage and you're feeling out the fight on the feet and you're landing big shots. I wouldn't even
it was cool being in the OG Tough Gym actually for this fight. A lot more intimate than the Apex and a lot of history too. It's cool to see that. Ooh, jumping guard. Hey, got to do it sometimes. Going for a simple sweep.
He's looking to grab both those ankles, hip in, and try to sweep. He's showing that he's got skills down there, but when you're fighting a guy like Kawhi, who's also, a sick jiu-jitsu practitioner himself, it's going to come down to, can he get it to the mat, and who's winning these stand-up exchanges?
Definitely a lot lankier in this one. Not as developed here at 18, but what can you expect?
He has rocked Hooper on the feet, but if he doesn't knock him out like these,
I don't know why I was so.
We're going to see is where's their grit, what happens.
I was trying to throw so many kicks at that time. I really don't know why.
Especially for young guys like these two.
I think in my head before I was like, I'm gonna head kick this dude, and not the most subtle with it, not a ton of setups, but hey, we're here.
That Kawhi has here in the kickboxing range and how much more power. And you can see his frame.
Hands are super low too.
Same height, but you can see just muscle density at this point in their
little head movement.
Kawhi is definitely the thicker, stronger looking young man.
It's interesting, we talked about this earlier. There's another left land and then another from Kawhi.
Ooh.
He's hurt bad. He's on his feet still somehow amazing.
Hey, jump guard. When in doubt, jump guard.
Where Kawhi could stay on the mat, look for some ground and pound. When your opponent is as hurt as Hooper is right now, this is the time when he's rocked, his chin's loose, take advantage of it.
And he lets him up. Momentarily, he was listening to your advice, but they were back on their feet.
Yeah, see, Hooper did a good job there, though. He knew Kawhi was going to try to headhunt and try to take him out, right? He saw that coming, actually ducked under, got a body lock, and he can stall here a little bit.
How about that chin on Hooper?
He's, you're right, he's taking some big shots so far in this round, and he's still in this fight. And we'll see where's the cardio could come into play here towards the end of this round.
As Paul Felder mentioned, the cardio definitely came into factor on this. It's kind of not really the game plan, but ended up just let him beat me up until he got tired, and then go from there.
So far, but it looks like he's the more tired of the two fighters. You would think at this age, the cardio wouldn't come into play as much as it would for two fighters in their 30s.
Yeah, you're right, but experience goes a long way when it comes to that.
Ooh, little roll.
Oh,
Not a good time in the crucifix.
Not yet.
Yeah, and he had to get his left leg. He's still
At this point in the fight, I honestly don't really remember too much.
and he's still got that arm pinned to Hooper.
Just, you know, we're just going at that point. I don't know what all that was from taking the shots and what's from just being pretty locked in, but
Oh, looking for the
yeah, we were just flowing here.
single leg.
Sloppy single leg attempt here from Hooper. Just doesn't seem to have it. And Kawhi takes advantage of it, grabs his neck. He's looking to try to roll on top and get that mounted guillotine, but nothing to it.
We are winding down in the first round here, an action-packed first round that Hooper gets out of amazingly. Let's listen into the corners now with our corner cam brought to you by Grunt Style. This we will defend.
Shout out Tate. I didn't even know he was my cut man for that one. It's my guy though.
Make it funky with this guy. Okay? He's beating you to the punch on the outside. Okay? You're throwing way too many kicks.
My coach Jeff here with like probably 30% more hair at the time too. Hey, you know. Hopefully UFC does like a turkey card. We'll get him there. We'll get some hair transplant going.
Massive punches, great elbows, and here we go with just a
Ooh.
beautiful right hook right on the chin of Hooper.
Yeah, a lot of these issues were from just getting clipped trying to just throw kicks.
Press the body, and he follows that up with a big left. And here's nice tight slips off to the ankle. And lands. And a lot of these punches weren't even
I think I was probably a little more nervous for this fight than most of the other ones, you know, just because it's in front of Dana. This is like, everybody's always pitched it as like, oh, this is your job interview to like get to the UFC. So it's definitely more pressure. I mean, even if I tried not to let it get to me, I was still definitely not looking forward to it. Against another undefeated kid, so it was definitely a step up. Again, in front of Dana, you know, for the UFC at the time, and yeah.
forward, and we see a slow version of
I do remember actually, I don't know if it really affected my warm-up at all, but it was my first time ever doing a drug test, and I was very pee shy. So like, I was the first fight, but I was the last guy to pee in the cup for my drug test. And I was just, I don't even know why it bothered me so much, especially now, like you got a pee test all the time, but
his opponent. Now we're
yeah, I just kept chugging water until I like couldn't hold it to the point where I was able to get enough in the cup, and then I was literally between every like 2-minute round of the warm-up, I was running to the bathroom and then coming back, hitting another round of pads, and then running back to the bathroom and then running back.
in front of the man himself.
That was pretty much my whole warm-up, and
Second round, not quite
yeah.
as spry as he was
not a good time.
first. Here's another look at that low kick.
See it again.
It's hard as a tall guy not to knee him in the groin sometimes, you know, it just happens.
Yeah, I think if the ref is going to restart this, they should put them back on the fence because I believe Kawhi was pressing forward and was looking for a takedown on the fence when Chase Hooper landed that accidental knee. It was definitely accidental. It wasn't very hard. It looked like he was going for the front of the thigh. It's part of the game, but it looks like he's going to start them out here, which at this point, I'm not really sure who this might benefit because Kawhi is now looking for the takedowns, and I honestly think that's because of
Still, again, just on those kicks.
pressing forward here.
If I was in my corner at that time, I would say stop throwing the kicks. Hey,
But he passes to the side.
Gilly gets me going.
Both guys
Fun scrambles.
showing their skills here on the ground.
Unbelievable. You talk about Hooper continuing to press forward as he's eating those punches in the first.
I mean, that was a big factor too, knowing going into the fight. Like he had good jiu-jitsu as well, and he'd never been out of the first round. I don't believe it was a lot of knockouts,
The stamina.
but
Now that Hooper's got it down,
yeah, I mean,
might look fatigued on his feet, but he's comfortable. In the
pretty well-rounded for being 20, and you know,
and being in a
thankfully he got a little more tired than this, so I was able to
very flexible and has some awkward jiu-jitsu off his back.
snake my way on top.
3 of Kawhi High's wins have come via submission. 2 of those were guillotines.
There's an awkward position here. He's just kind of landing some dirty boxing.
Yep.
Kawhi kind of just sitting on his butt there, waiting for that takedown, got stuffed.
And this is one of the things too that my coach was yelling at me after the fight for, was like,
Searching for that neck.
you keep just focusing too much on the sub instead of trying to get a TKO, which especially like now looking back, like TKOs are so much easier to get. Like, you know, you pin a guy to where he can't move and you just hit him a couple times and they stop it, versus like, you know, a choke where they're going to let him go unconscious, or like an arm bar where they're going to let it break if the guy doesn't tap. So you really have to, you know, be on point with it.
This is where Hooper needs to keep this fight. Kawhi is exhausted. He needs to
I think they said too it was the first time in Contender Series where they had a 10-8 round one way and then it went 10-8 the next for the other guy.
shrimp out either way. And for Hooper, he knows where he's going to go. He's doing a great job controlling him here, posturing on the neck.
Two entirely different rounds, and this is what Kawhi High's camp was worried about. He has not fought a caliber of fighter of Chase Hooper yet in his 5 pro fights.
Yeah. Somebody who doesn't go away right away. You hit them with one clean shot, they don't go away.
3 consecutive elbows to his forehead.
Wow, this
There's
is all
another.
Hooper right here. Beautiful ground and pound here. And he's going to give up his back. This is exactly what a guy like Chase Hooper wants you to do. Soften you up.
Yeah, I feel like Herzog I really like as a ref, because I feel like he lets it go a little bit, you know, but like very reasonable. And in that situation, I feel like he was doing just enough to keep moving, to keep the fight from getting stopped. And yeah, I mean, again, I like Herzog as a ref. I feel like he's very on point and will like let people go right to the edge of where it's, you know, needs to be stopped. And you know, part of that was my bad, looking for the sub like that and then losing position, stuff like that. So again, I think if I'd focused on the TKO more than the submission, I probably could have got him out of there. But you know, I was 18 at the time. That was my 5th pro fight, so not a ton of experience. I'd only been a pro for 6 months when they offered me the Contender Series contract, so it was a very very quick run up.
Throw up that arm bar when it doesn't seem like it's even going to be possible.
We've seen just about everything in these scrambles here in the second round.
He's setting up a triangle right here. See how he's got
Weird
his
little
legs up?
scramble position here.
He's
Some sort of lockdown.
his own foot into lock behind his knee here, and I think he's
That's what we
gonna
want,
just
that handcuff.
body lock or taking his back and flatten him out here.
This is
Like Paul Felder said, probably stay more on top, flatten him out, instead of
Finally feeling himself
you know, pulling him on top of me.
in his world. He got it to where he wants. He's landed some ground and pound, and he's looking
Some
for
of
the
these you know, sub attempts were decent, but
he's just got to go palm to palm here and squeeze and hide the
if there wasn't 10 seconds left, he probably could have got it out of there.
You see Kawhi's face, he's grimacing, but short time, I don't know if it's going to be enough. Big elbow to finish the
right before the horn sounds.
Ugh.
One more elbow landed by Chase Hooper.
Definitely looking tired there, but
Absolutely dominating the second round.
Now here he's been locking up, he goes for some knees, but when he finally got on top, he did a good job of staying busy. Some shots were hard, like these elbows, and that's going to make your opponent rethink where he wants to be.
about 1 or 2 of those elbows landed.
That's when Kawhi started turning his
That's
back
okay.
and gave up that position.
Sit up, let's go breathe. Look at me. This is your chance right here. We got one more round to make this happen. We got one more round to make this happen. Breathe. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I don't really remember too much of this fight, whether that's from getting beat up in the first or just, you know, the amount of time that has passed since. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what the doctor's looking at with him.
Oh man, they're taking a close look.
It was warm in the gym when we were down there. Doctor taking a look at Kawhi High to make sure he's good. His dad, Christopher, one of his coaches in his corner, and you could see he was completely gassed. Didn't even lift his head up.
Hui. Hey, one of those kicks landed. Only took me about 20 attempts. Oh, and then he, again, keeps cracking me on the kicks.
That body kick so bad, but he's not setting it up. He's actually giving Kawhi a chance.
Like Paul said, not setting it up.
That's not a good. This is not what Kawhi wants to be doing at this point.
Hey.
He's got that guillotine.
Some good guillotine defense from Kanan on this one.
Beautiful arm bar there.
Oh, no.
Can he fight this? Hooper doing a smart job, taking his time.
I mean, some decent transitions for the sub.
He may just go straight to the back. He's so long and flexible.
So any frustration on your end with the sub pass?
I think it's one of those things, like, I really don't feel much anything, like not really a ton of frustration or anything in the fight. It's just, you're just going, and especially at this point where you're both tired, you're both pretty locked into the moment, and it's just like, all right, what do we got to do here? Just, you know, second by second, just doing whatever comes next. And, you know, thankfully his cardio wasn't a little better. That would have been quite a bit worse for me. I mean, if he had another 5 minutes of cardio, he probably would have got me out of there. Grabbing the fingers there. I don't know what Jason's, you know, doing on that one.
Take unnecessary damage, but he's a young kid. He's 18 years old. Oh, beautiful elbows. I'm gonna have to talk to this kid if he pulls this off. This ground and pound
Herzog right in
beyond
there
his
on top of
years.
these two.
Flatten him out. Gonna hip in. And same thing. He's gonna keep doing the same sequence here. He's gonna just ground and pound. Let him pick a position that he wants. And he's gonna just keep ground and pound.
And this is one too, again, where it's like he's moving just enough to keep the fight from getting stopped. And then it's me transitioning, like trying to fight for the subs when I maybe should be focusing on the hitting a little more. But, you know, honestly, I'm pretty glad that I didn't just jump, you know, maybe get a finish and jump right into UFC from this. I remember at the time being just so disappointed that I was like, ah, dang, I got a decision. Like, that's the one thing I didn't want to do. Because I think, oh no, I'd had one decision up to that point before anyways. But in, you know, what, like 10 fights, you know, 6 amateur and 4 pro at that point. I'd only had one decision. So I was really pretty used to getting out of there sooner rather than later. And I was really hoping I'd be able to get another finish and you know, get back in there and get that UFC contract. But again, it worked out, getting that developmental deal, getting to build up my skill set a little more, mature physically a little more. And it's funny seeing the difference physically from then to now is definitely quite a bit different. Just trying to figure out how to not hit him in the back of the head right there. I feel like as far as the ground and pound style goes, like I still have a lot of similarities in it. Like maybe not the hardest shots all the time, but you know, we're in there. Those are some good shots. Oh, see, if I hadn't gone, you know, pulled him onto the side, I think we would have been out of there. Paul Felder's right on the money. If he stayed on top, hit some punches. So into the submissions. I think I was much more of like a pure jiu-jitsu guy at that point. I hadn't quite transitioned to the MMA side of things yet.
If only you could just punch right now, you'd have this fight over. You wouldn't even need these extra 48 seconds.
You can almost sense that Herzog wants to call the fight.
He does. He doesn't want Kawhi to have to take any more damage. He's a great referee. He wants to get in there. But if he keeps fighting, that's the sport. He's going to let him continue, of course.
Yeah, exactly. Again, like, Herzog's really good at being on top of things and like, okay, he's still moving. He's still in there. No reason to stop this fight yet. You know, not like I was punching him all that hard anyways. So, you know, I think he's more just exhausted than anything. You know, we got him tired, let him beat me up for the first 5 minutes, and then next 10 were all mine, which is, you know, again, pretty thankful for them giving me that developmental contract. Here's my wife now, girlfriend at the time, watching the fight.
From the third round here, lands that or first round rather. Take it away, Paul.
Yeah, I mean, it was all Kane and Kawhi. He was landing beautiful punches, but Chase Hooper.
Yeah, rough seeing some of those shots early on. You know, just
We saw Chase Hooper and how he handles
Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things where
jiu-jitsu and
I can't be mad at myself for doing what I could at the time. And
these are the things that
again, like it's led me here, the ups and the downs, and
this is what would have won him this fight.
you know, it's you can see like the grit just from day one of being able to just, you know, be in there and stay fighting. And that's I think that's what UFC saw, and that's why they gave me that developmental contract. They're like, okay, you know, this kid's got good jiu-jitsu. You get some more time in training wise, and yeah, I'm definitely happy they gave me that opportunity. My buddy really screwed me up with the hat positioning here. Really showing off the bald spot here. Just
We're almost in the third generation, right? This is the first generation that's
should have got a haircut before this fight, but that's okay.
martial arts from the beginning.
Knowing the UFC specifically too, and you know,
As a corner man, I would let my guy know if his hair was like way off to the side like that. I'd be like, hey, hold on, you know, let's get you right first.
Ladies and gentlemen, at the end of 3 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards for a decision. The judges score this bout.
I think at this time, I honestly wasn't sure if I won or not. I really like, just because you're so locked into the moment,
26 for your winner by unanimous decision.
I was like, what does 28-26 mean? I don't know. Again, a 10-8 round, and then, what was that, 2 10-8s for me? Just pretty wild.
I mean, you know, Chase Hooper dominated rounds 2 and 3 with.
That big old cut on my forehead, they had me in the back right after, and they were stitching me up. And then I remember Dana coming in and be like, hell yeah, that was a hell of a fight, kid. And then the doc that was doing it was like, oh, I've never seen him do that before, so that's probably a good sign. And I was still pretty down about, you know, not getting a finish and all that. But hey, it worked out. They offered me the contract, and we're still here, thankfully.